is speaking out about his reported $32 million sexual harassment settlement. Now, he denies he did anything wrong. Says this is an injustice at the highest level. Take a look.
Am I mad at God? Yeah, I'm mad at him. I wish I had more protection. I wish this stuff didn't happen. I can't explain it to you. Yeah, I'm mad at him. If I die tomorrow and I get an opportunity, I'll say, why'd you guys work me over like that?
Oh, my God.
That's what you're going to say to God, Bill? Why did you work me over?
Yeah, this is God's fault?
Yeah.
You know, he says this was a hatchet job by the New York Times and apparently God, and they don't want him to be on the air.
Can we clear one thing up really quick?
Yeah.
$32 million, which is around the same amount O.J. Simpson had to pay the Goldman family in a civil lawsuit for murdering two people. To pay that amount of money, you're a lawyer. It has to be pretty bad, correct?
It's so highly unusual. I mean, I say it on the show all the time. Rape and sexual assault, sexual harassment, the most underreported offenses in our country. 80% of women say that they have been sexually harassed on the job. 80%. So allegedly, for Bill O'Reilly to pay $32 million to Lise Wheel, that must have been some sort of activity.
Well, he says he's mad at God. Bill, God is mad at you.
The thing that jumped out at me most is when he pointed his finger and said, you know, how would anyone do this to my kids? I'm protecting them. And yet, when some of these actions happened, his kids weren't on his mind. And as a new parent, one thing that's interesting is, aside from my own integrity, I find myself jumping right away. It's almost chemical to, what would Alec think? What kind of example am I setting? So somehow when things like, if you guys remember the loofah scandal, the audio tape and things.
Falafel.
So there was
Now there's a technique.
There was a tape.
A leaked voicemail. It was interesting phone call. So clearly his kids weren't on his mind when he was doing that or saying those things. So to use them now seems a bit hypocritical.
And to almost smear Lise Wheel in a sense. I mean, I know Lise. She's a former federal prosecutor, went to Harvard Law School. She is lovely. And so the fact that he paid her $32 million and now is saying this is a smear piece, I just think is incredible. And if you believe the New York Times reporting, they also say that Lise had to, in order to accept the settlement, had to get rid of all documents as well as all photographs that had to deal with anything with Bill O'Reilly in order to get the settlement. Now, the Justice Department was investigating Fox News at the time for sexual assault, sexual harassment. That sounds like a little bit of a cover-up to me. And if I were at the Justice Department, I'd be looking for those documents.
Read the must-do.
Okay, I will read the must-do.
We must do this.
This is from Bill O'Reilly.
Yes. Bill O'Reilly says that the $32 million figure is according to the New York Times, and O'Reilly has disputed this New York Times report as lies and smears, and 21st Century Fox claims it knew nothing about the settlement. It knew about the settlement, but not the specific terms, including the amount when it negotiated the new contract with O'Reilly, because after they found out he settled with Lise Wheel, they still offered him a 4-year contract at $25 million a year.
Wait, but that's not what he said in his thing, right? You have to read his thing.
It just says the $32 million figure is according to the New York Times, and O'Reilly has disputed the New York Times report as lies and smears.
He also went on to talk about Eric Bolling's deceased son and sort of blame the New York Times for that, which Eric Bolling, again, I used to work with both of these men, and it's an absolute tragedy what happened to his son, and it was brought up sort of in a way to politicize this to benefit Bill O'Reilly, and to Eric Bolling's credit, he came out saying this. I worked at Fox News for a very long time. I would have liked to have been privy to the information that he had paid out $32 million to a woman while still working in the same place as someone. Whether or not Fox paid it or he paid it, that's still, I think, information women who worked at the company had a right to know. And every time there's a giant Fox scandal, I always wanted someone to say, so I'm going to say it here, the best women work at Fox, the smartest, strongest women who have been sisters to me in my life that I'm talk to every single day. Abby Huntsman, Kat Timpf, Janice Dean, Kennedy. These are Harris Faulkner, strong, independent women who are dragged into this just publicly because you're associated with it by working at Fox, and it's not fair.
That's a really good point you make. Yeah, I mean, I love the point that you make that, you know, if you are aware as an employer that someone has settled 5, 6 lawsuits against them for sexual harassment, is it your job as an employer to tell the female employees that they may be sitting next to a sexual predator?
Yeah, that is.
Well, it's certainly HR's. You know, we talk about HR all the time. Where the hell was HR?
Well, the only thing bigger than these men are the companies that are protecting them with these non-disclosure acts.
But if the claim is without merit, why pay it?
Well, yeah,
That's
$32
the
million.
bottom line.
He's protecting his children.
Yeah, baloney.
Well, you know what, Bill? Probably just take another couple of vacations for a while.
He's got enough money.
Because
he
you
can
don't, you can't walk out of this. You can blame it on as many people as you want, but at its core, you participated in some way. They are naming you. So don't blame God. Take a look in the mirror and say, you know what I did was dumb, and I shouldn't do it. I'm not doing it anymore. And then maybe God will forgive you. We'll be right back.